this should be fun. This idea occurred to me recently, and I thought that would be interesting. There are some booklets and some movie tickets, and I've collected this for about 6 years or so, and I thought it would be fun to rewatch them, review them, and share. And I see the first one, Gentleman, by Guy Ritchie. Well, I think it was one of the best movies of the previous year. And each and every person whom I talked about this movie, and without even my asking, they said it's great. And my husband and I enjoyed it a lot. And I'm a huge Charlie Hunnam fan, and I think he had a great role in this one. If you haven't seen this yet, which I think is not possible, please do. So, Frozen Part 2. The first one was great. It was very funny. We went to it with different companies. I went several times. I rewatched it. I loved the songs, although for some people they were annoying and kind of everywhere, but I enjoyed it, and even the translation. So I watched the original and the Russian translation, and I think it was very funny both ways. Okay, Nobody. It's by the Russian director Naishula, and I don't know if many people know about this movie, both in Russia and abroad, but those who love the movies, I'm sure cinema lovers, they are aware of this film. If you are not, watch it. The story is very interesting, and it has a real story behind it. Well, just I love the actor. I love him after Better Call Saul, especially even more than after Breaking Bad. So I think he is great, and the movie is wonderful. Maybe not for everyone, but it was kind of action and very fast, and the music good. So yes, as I said, lots of Charlie Hunnam movies. The Lost City of Z, or Z, as you wish. So I went, it was 4 years ago already, and I went to this with my sister. She almost fell asleep because she expected something more from the movie, which is about adventures and seeking treasures and lost cities, but I enjoyed it, and I read the book. There are some facts which were very intriguing, and the story is good. For some people the movie is boring, but for me it was good. Okay, Knives Out. This one is great. I think that's one of the best movies of 2019. It was fun, it was mysterious, there were lots of twists, and I can't say the story is new, or the way the story goes is new, because it's very similar to Agatha Christie's novels, but it still is very intriguing, and my husband and I enjoyed it. So please see it. Ford versus Ferrari. Well, There are some facts which were interesting to learn. Again, I love the actors. Um, it's it's fun to watch, and yeah. But if you are not a car person, maybe it's not for you. Dunkirk. So they are at random, these movies. So this was 4 years ago. Again, it's by Christopher Nolan. I love all the Nolan's movies. He's one of my most favorite directors. I think he is fantastic. For me, his movies are surreal. He is surreal in any way. And we went together with my mom to this, and she enjoyed it too. I thought that I would rewatch it, but I didn't. Maybe I haven't yet. So, The Man on the Moon, the first man, yes, the translation is The Man on the Moon, the English version is The First Man. I love Giselle, I love La La Land, I love Whiplash. That's why I went to this movie. I knew that it would be different, completely different, but I still enjoyed it. And the fun fact was that I was alone in the cinema, and for the first half an hour, I came earlier and I waited for everyone to gather. And it was like I was alone on the moon. It was a great analogy. Once upon a time in Hollywood, I expected more. I know there are maybe lots of fans of Tarantino. The story is still, it's worth to know about it. There are some maybe scenes which seemed offensive to some people, but I love the actors again. That's why I watched it. I think it's worth to watch, but I expected something more. Although I can't say that it's a bad movie, of course. It was still enjoyable to watch. Oh, this one. Alicia is great in this. So Tomb Raider. Well, I know there are lots of fans of the original movies, and I watched them too. I enjoyed them back then. But I can't say this is bad. It's just new. It's different, but that's okay. And I loved the action scenes. I loved what Alicia brought to this movie, because I just like her as an actress, and I think it was new and different, but good. I wrote only one line, I don't write a lot of reviews, but I wrote for this one, the passenger, Liam Neeson is in there. I wrote only one line, so Liam, please next time spare the guitar, because I don't know, in the middle or in the end of the movie he just breaks the guitar, and I don't think he needed to do that. It was okay, but maybe for one time for me. Again, surprise, Charlie Hunnam movie. So King Arthur by Guy Ritchie. Lots of people said that it was strange. There were some Game of Thrones vibes, but that King Arthur's legend is so different, and that It wasn't it it wasn't stick to the legend, but again, it's a legend. Come on, guys. So you can do whatever you want with it, to my mind. And I loved the music, the energy in this movie. It was interesting. And of course, Charlie Hunnam. So, La La Land. Yeah, I mentioned Damien Chazelle already, and I cried, I laughed, I lived for about 2.5 hours. I lived in a completely different world, and I still can't get enough of this movie, although 5 years passed. And it was sometimes I have, movies and books and music in the time most needed, and this movie, it was a very great way to escape from reality at the time. And I think the ending is very sad, is actually heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking for me, and I wanted it to end where on the part where Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone's characters are together, but I guess that's life. There are some more interesting facts I noticed about Chazelle's movies. Maybe I can mention it in the next videos, but I love the movie, the music, the actors, the atmosphere, the director. Thank you very much. I will rewatch it, I think, for all my life. So, Jackie with Natalie Portman. We went together with my brother to this. Natalie is always great. It was very. I felt kind of gripped by the movie, but I didn't rewatch it again. So there are some movies which I like, but I don't rewatch. Maybe sooner or later, but I remember. So Natalie was great. So prepare your napkins, tissues, cocoa. Again, I went to this movie alone, and then I rewatched it several times. Again, it was the moment when I needed it the most, and I just cried my eyes out, because you can think a lot about lots of things, although maybe I wouldn't show it to very small kids, but I think it's more for grown-ups. It's my opinion, because there are some serious topics underneath all this pretty pictures and cute characters. There's lots of things to think about. And again, I want to thank the creators for being there in a moment for me. Paddington Part 2. I'm planning to rewatch this with my husband. Actually, this is kind of an exception. The second part is better. For me, it's better than the first one. It's very funny. It's hilarious in some parts. Christopher Robin. Again, I watched this with my brother, and I enjoyed it. It was nice. The story is cute. Anything about the authors is usually fun for me, interesting. Part 3. So, how to... I forgot the English. The English for this. About the dragons.